The Battle of Stalingrad, August 1942, February 1943, was one of the single largest, longest, and bloodiest confrontations of World War II, and is widely regarded as the turning point of the entire conflict on the Eastern Front, if not the war itself. The brutal struggle for control of the Soviet city of Stalingrad, now Volgograd, crippled the German army, Wehrmacht, and marked the beginning of its long retreat from the Soviet Union. 1. Background and German objectives. By the summer of 1942, Adolf Hitler's Operation Barbarossa, the massive invasion of the Soviet Union, had stalled outside Moscow. Frustrated, Hitler redirected the primary focus of the Wehrmacht's summer offensive, Operation Blue, toward the resource-rich south of the USSR. The main objectives were twofold. The oil fields, to capture the vital oil field of Baku in the Caucasus region, which were essential for fueling the German war machine. Stalingrad, to capture the industrial city of Stalingrad on the Volga River. Not only was the city a crucial center for Soviet war production, especially tractors which could be converted into tanks, and a major transport hub for shipping oil and supplies, but its name also carried symbolic importance. It bore the name of Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. Hitler felt both a military and a personal imperative to seize it. 2. The initial assault, August to November 1942. The German Sixth Army, led by General Paulus Friedrich, launched its main assault on Stalingrad in August 1942. The initial German advantage was devastating. Aerial bombardment. On August 23rd, the Luftwaffe launched one of the most destructive bombing raids in history, turning much of the city into a fiery wasteland and killing tens of thousands of civilians. The city became a chaotic, rubble-strewn landscape. Street fighting. When German ground troops entered the city, the battle devolved into vicious urban warfare, or Rottenkrieg, as the German soldiers called it. Every street, factory, and building became a fortified position. The fighting was conducted at extremely close quarters, often hand-to-hand, house-to-house, and floor-to-floor. Soviet resistance. Under the command of General Vasily Chuikov, the Soviet 62nd Army was ordered to defend the city to the last man. Their tactic of hugging the enemy meant keeping the front lines extremely close, nullifying the German advantage in artillery and air support, as the Luftwaffe could not risk hitting its own troops. Iconic battles were fought over landmarks like the Mamayev-Kurgan Hill, a strategic height overlooking the city, the Pavlov's House apartment building, and the Red October factory.
3. Operation Uranus and the Encirclement, November 1942. As the German Sixth Army became bogged down in the relentless city fighting, the Soviet High Command, Stavka, led by Generals Georgy Zhukov and Alexander Vasilevsky, secretly planned a massive counteroffensive known as Operation Uranus. Launched on November 19, 1942, this operation utilized the often overlooked flanks of the German lines, which were held by weaker, less mobile Romanian and Italian armies. The pincer movement, two massive Soviet tank forces, one striking from the north and one from the south, quickly broke through the Romanian lines. The trap. On November 23rd, the two Soviet pincers met at Kalach-on-Don, west of Stalingrad, successfully encircling the entire German Sixth Army and parts of the 4th Panzer Army, a force of roughly 250,000 to 300,000 Axis troops. 4. The siege and German collapse, December 29, 1942 to February 2, 1943. Hitler forbade General Paulus from attempting a breakout, instead ordering him to hold the city and promising a relief operation. Air supply failure.
The Luftwaffe was tasked with supplying the huge encircled force by air, but this proved impossible due to Soviet air superiority and the severity of the Russian winter. The trapped soldiers began to starve and freeze. Operation Winter Storm, a German relief force led by Field Marshal Erich von Manstein, attempted to break through the Soviet cordon in December, but was ultimately repulsed by determined Soviet defenses. Soviet Final Offensive. In January 1943, the Soviets launched Operation Ring, a final massive assault to crush the remaining German forces in the pocket, Kessel. The Germans, exhausted, out of ammunition, and suffering from famine and disease, were slowly pushed back into the ruins of Stalingrad. Surrender. On January 31, 1943, General Paulus, who Hitler had just promoted to Field Marshal to encourage him to fight to the death, surrendered the southern half of his army. The last pockets of resistance surrendered on February 2nd. Over 91,000 Axis soldiers were taken prisoner. Aftermath and significance. The Battle of Stalingrad resulted in catastrophic casualties. An estimated 2 million total casualties, killed, wounded, or captured for both sides, making it arguably the deadliest battle in human history. Decisive turning point. The destruction of the German Sixth Army, a formation of 250,000 men and 22 divisions, was a loss the Wehrmacht never truly recovered from. It broke the myth of German invincibility. Shift in momentum. From Stalingrad onward, the strategic initiative on the Eastern Front firmly shifted to the Soviet Red Army. The Germans were permanently on the defensive. Psychological blow. The defeat sent shockwaves through Germany and cemented the Soviet resolve to win the war, galvanizing Allied support worldwide. Stalingrad was not just a battle for a city. It was a desperate 6-month struggle for survival that determined the ultimate course of the Second World War.